Welcome all to accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions, where we shine a light on incredible individuals and organizations and the work that they do. I'm your host, Josh Basil, a C45 quadriplegic, paralyzed below my shoulders, and a power wheelchair user. I'm the Community Relations Manager here at accessiBe and a passionate disability rights advocate and attorney focused on breaking down barriers to access and inclusion for persons with disabilities. And today, I'm excited we are joined by Rachel Hadler. She is a dancer, singer, writer, actor, and motivational speaker. She does it all. I'm excited for her to be on accessiBe's Spotlight Sessions. So welcome, Rachel.
Thanks, Josh. It's great to be here.
Well, I can't wait for you to share a little bit about yourself and kind of tell us a little bit about your life journey.
Sure. So I'm Rachel Handler. I went to school for musical theater. I was always like a big musical theater nerd. And then right after I graduated from college with a degree in musical theater, I was in a car accident and I was in like a minor fender bender, pulled over on the side of the road, and then another car spun around the curve and hit me. So I lost my leg on impact. In a split second, I saw everything that I had worked for and dreamed of and how I saw my life. I saw that all disappear, lying on the grass, like paralyzed from the shock of it all. My first thought was, well, first I was like, I got to call my dad. And then second thought was, how am I going to be on Broadway now? Like, how am I going to reach this goal? So I was, in the hospital for a few months. I learned how to walk again, wearing a prosthetic leg, and realized pretty quickly after I got home from the hospital, though, how amazing and rich and full and vibrant this community of disabled people is. I was lucky to, become disabled at a time when we have the internet and I can find other people with disabilities to connect with. And I found Anita Hollander right away, who sort of became a mentor to me because she is an actor and singer with one leg. And I just sort of found the tribe of people who could motivate me and who accepted me as I was and inspired me to keep pursuing a career in the entertainment business. So I was like, you know what? I might be down a leg, but I am still me. I'm still full of ideas and have the urge to perform and dive into a role. And I've always loved the craft of acting. So I decided to stay in this field, even though a lot of people thought it was just ridiculous to do that. I was like, you know what? This is the only thing I can see doing with my life. So I really dedicated my life to not only being a performer, but being a performer with a disability and advocating for performers with disabilities. So,
And when you found those initial mentors, tell me what was that like? Like, how did that change everything for you?
oh yeah, well, you know what? I was really looking online after my accident. As soon as I was like, healthy enough to not be on all the pain meds and to really start walking on crutches again. I was looking up like agents for actors with disabilities, performers with disabilities, and I found, you know, not a lot. So it was not that, oh my God, I could still do this. It wasn't like that feeling, but it was like, okay, there are a few people out here. Like maybe this is still a possibility. I'll just have to work like 50 billion times harder. But as soon as I found Anita, I felt like, okay, my dream isn't ridiculous. Like this is possible. And as soon as I found like KMR with their diversity department, I was like, okay, this is like there are agents who want to help change the industry and help actors with disabilities get cast in roles. So I really felt like there were people out there who could look out for me and support me in this journey. and not see me as something less than, but see me, as the actor that I am.
So, like, as an actor with a disability, what is that like in 2022? Tell us more about that.
You know what? As an actor with a disability in 2022, it is so much better than even like 5 years ago. I have to say, I've been an amputee now for 10 years and I've been acting and performing that entire time. And now is the time. If you want to be an actor and you happen to have a disability, if you want to be a performer, a writer, whatever, now is your time. Don't wait. Do it. Join us, because there are more opportunities than ever. So, I mean, if you had asked me in 2015, I might be like, nah, it's tough. It's tough. But even in the past like 5 years or so, I have seen tremendous growth. I mean, you've probably even seen on your TV, there are more characters than ever with disabilities on film and TV. Ali Stroker won the Tony Award for theater. She's really paving the way in that medium. So I think that as far as we still have to go, the change is booming, and it's really exciting to be part of that.
That's awesome. So, all right.
Yeah.
So, what is your proudest achievement today?
Oh my gosh. Honestly, I think that my proudest achievement has actually been creating my own work, creating my own short films, my own scripts. Um, I love acting. I will always be an actor. I will always write things for myself to act in. But I was in 2013, I went to my first audition as an amputee for a musical, and I literally got laughed out of the room. I sang my song, and they were like, "Wow, you have such a great voice, and we'd love to call you back, but it's a dance callback." So, and I just stood there like, "Oh, okay. Okay." And I left. And at that point, I didn't know how to advocate for myself. You know, if that happened to me now, I would say, well, if a dance callback, I would like to attend and I can adapt the movements to suit my body. But also, if you're laughing at me, then maybe I don't want to be part of your production after all. Have a nice
Absolutely.
day, you know? Um, but it was really discouraging. And actually, after that, I started doing more film and TV work. I got frustrated with the theater for a little bit. And that was 2013. And then in 2014, the Disability Film Challenge started happening. That was the first year it ever was. And I signed up to write a film, shoot a film, and edit a film all within the span of 3 days. And Nick Novicki founded that film challenge. It's the Easter Seals Disability Film Challenge. Um, and I can't recommend it enough. It was the first time I'd ever completed a script, shot my own film, and I thought, wow, like I just came up with a story in a day that I've never seen before about a woman with a disability going on a first date. And I was like, you know what? Our stories are really lacking in the media. So I started doing the Disability Film Challenge every year because I knew at least once a year I would be creating this 5-minute short film that was a story that I wanted to tell that no one had seen before about my life as a disabled woman. And every year it got better and better. I learned more and more. I was casting my other friends with disabilities as other actors in my films. I was working with crew members with disabilities. So it became just this way to connect and bond with other people within the community. And non disabled people, too, would be part of our teams and get to learn about how amazing it is to work with people with disabilities and to try to hire more people with disabilities on their own sets and crews. So, yeah.
Well, it's incredible that you talk about kind of like the stories that are not out there. And
Mm-hmm.
it's that kind of like boggles my mind with like in the last decade or however you want to say it, like within the media, like over 1/4 of the US population has a disability. So like
Oh, yeah.
there's so many people out there that can connect to these storylines and they want to kind of have a deeper kind of understanding of humanity and all the different layers and shades and beauty and abilities, disabilities, however you want to say it. So like I love that you're saying like 2022 is the year. Like this is the year to go out and to put yourself out there for different opportunities. So
It is. I
that
can
makes it
feel it. I
great.
can feel it bubbling, you know. The Disability Film Challenge is coming up. Your last chance to register is April 4th and it starts April 5th through 10th. So that's a great way to just dive in and start writing or editing or producing or whatever you want to do. Find a team to join, get online, check out the website, the Facebook group, whatever. And if you're in New York, hit me up. I'm looking for more crew members and cast members, so let me know.
What's the best way for them to reach you?
um, Through probably Instagram. I'm on Instagram too much. My handle is at bionic.brunette. I'm also on TikTok as bionic.brunette. And my website is my name. It's rachelahandler.com. So you can check me out there. Yeah, yeah. I think that right now is just like, it's such a good time to dive into the industry because I haven't been, I've been getting more auditions now than ever before, and like quality auditions, you know, for roles that have more than one line. And a lot of these roles are being written as maybe someone with a disability, you know. Maybe the disability isn't like directly written into the storyline, but that role, they might say like she uses crutches, or this character was in the military, and it's not just a stereotypical like angry suicidal injured war veteran, you know. There are layers and it's complex. And so I think there are a lot of opportunities out there for me right now. Like I've been performing like nonstop lately, and it's been incredible. I was in LA shooting a TV show. I was in San Francisco doing a musical. I was in New Orleans shooting a few episodes of a TV show. Right now, I just booked an understudy role in an off-Broadway play, and I'm in the mix for a possible series regular role. So I'm just like, this year is like already a huge win for me as an actor and as a creator. And you know, I've during the pandemic, it was really a struggle mentally because I was, you know, working out and in acting classes and not getting any auditions, not booking any roles for like almost 2 years, you know? Like success does not come in a day. You have to work for it. You have to believe in yourself enough to keep training and keep growing as an actor, as a performer, as a writer, whatever you're doing. But just trust in yourself and in the universe and whatever you believe in, that eventually people will notice and you will start getting the work that you want to do or creating the work that you want to do. Yeah.
I want every young aspiring actor with a disability to hear that those are such
Yeah.
powerful words, and thank
Yeah.
you for saying
Like
that.
almost 2 years, you know, I was in a TV show and my whole scene got cut. So it looked like I hadn't been working for, you know, more than 2 years at this point. So it's really, it can be hard to find the motivation and the willpower and the inspiration to stay in an industry that you feel sometimes doesn't love you and doesn't respect you. Like I felt that way for a long time. But if you love the craft, if you love what you're doing, I always say just stick with it, you know, like find ways to still find joy. Like acting class brings me so much joy, you know, working out brings me so much joy. So just stay with your passions, what you love, and eventually you'll find your way within that field.
And you mentioned before like the difference between now and 5 years ago. Can you talk a little bit about kind of representation in Hollywood, and like what was it in the past, and like how sometimes, well, most of the time it wasn't somebody with a disability actually playing that role, or just like why is it important that those roles be casted too?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think authentic disability representation is so important. There are still shows and movies casting non disabled actors in disabled roles. Like I don't know if this is happening, but J.J. Abrams was going to do a movie about Virginia Hall, who was a World War II spy, and she was an amputee. And Daisy Ridley was going to play the role without auditioning any actors with disabilities. So it's still happening. I got some flack from doing the Upside with Bryan Cranston playing a wheelchair user. My character was Kevin Hart's like typing instructor at one point in the movie. And I think that there needs to be a change where disabled actors are getting those big auditions. But first, disabled actors just need to be auditioning for any role, anything. Like it doesn't have to specifically be written with a disability, because change is going to come when we see, like, I got to play a nurse on New Amsterdam, like someone with a disability as just a nurse where their disability isn't mentioned. I was a congressman's aide on NCIS. You could see my leg, you could see they had me using crutches, but it was never like discussed, like, oh, she's disabled, So I think change will come when casting directors and producers are really prioritizing auditioning actors with disabilities. Um, I also know that I think it's like 70% of people with disabilities have invisible disabilities. So I think it's also important to include those actors and those storylines. Where's a storyline about a young woman who has all this pain and no doctors are believing her because her disabilities are invisible. So I think it's really important to cover disability in every aspect, in all spectrums. And that's also why it's so important to hire writers and producers and everyone behind the scenes with disabilities as well, because they can be the ones really shaping the narrative and the story. And I feel lucky that, lately I've been seeing some amazing TV shows with deaf and disabled actors that are not offensive as they used to be. So it's really, there's like a nice change coming. There's less actors without disabilities playing disabled roles. I think there's more awareness of the issue now. And everyone who's my friend who is a non-disabled actor has said, I would not accept a job if they offered it to me for a specifically disabled role, So I think there's a lot more awareness, but we shouldn't put the onus on the actor to make that choice, because that's a really hard choice. We should just be casting authentically, writing authentically.
I love that idea. Just in general, like I feel like in the last 5 years, we're having more conversations about accessibility, both out in public, online, and what in the web
Mhm.
space, you name it. Like there's more people are trying to figure out how to hire people with disabilities and what
Yes.
inclusive hiring and recruitment and retention are. But like
Yes.
I feel like in Hollywood and on media, it's almost just as important to have more people, more roles for actors with disabilities, whether it's that role is meant for a disability or they're like you're saying, playing just a nurse, playing an
Hmm.
aide, or however you want to call it, because the more we're seen, the more we're part of the narrative, it becomes a much more natural conversation. And it's like we become more accepted within the world. And I
Yes.
love that idea of for too long, persons with disabilities were stuck within the comfortable walls of their home and did
Mm.
not get out into the world as much. 20, 30, 40 years ago, or since the ADA was created 30 years ago, it's just where
Yeah.
we've been opening our roads and the world around us to be more accessible and more inclusive, which is beautiful. But like Hollywood, it's like you put that out and you have like a delivery message system that gets it to millions of people's homes. That's like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so I love what you're doing in Hollywood. I love what you're doing in theater. I love what you're doing around the world. So just thank you for
Thank
what
you.
you're doing.
Oh,
Thank,
thank you.
thank you for being so talented.
I mean, I think of it as like the chicken and the egg, what needs to come first? Hollywood being more inclusive, seeing more inclusive images on our TVs and our stages, or society becoming more inclusive and that influencing Hollywood. I think it has to be like a symbiotic relationship, you know? And I feel like, yeah, the change is coming. We're getting there. We're slowly but surely getting there.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. And I would love to know, if there's anybody that you could have a conversation with in the world, who would it be and why?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. Immediately my thoughts go to, Meryl Streep. Like I would love to have a conversation with her about her process and get to do like a scene with her, and just pick her brain about the craft and um, everything. Just because I think she's one of my favorite actors of all time. Of course, then I also go to like, well, I would love to talk to a prophet. I would love to talk to like Jesus or something, pick his brain about philosophy and life and all of that. So that's a really hard question. I think for now I'll just stick with Meryl Streep, but
Well, Meryl
that's a good
Streep.
one. I have to think more on that if I had one chance. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm just continuing to be excited to watch your IMDb portfolio grow and continuing to do all the great things that you're doing within Hollywood,
Thank
within
you.
media, within theater, and online. And thank you for joining us on accessiBe's Spotlight session today. This
Oh
was
my gosh, it's my pleasure. And before I forget, since I'm talking to Josh Basile with accessiBe, I should mention too that like a lot of times people are afraid to, work with people with disabilities because of accessibility issues, because of accommodations. I know in Hollywood, it's all about the money, right? Everywhere, it's all about the money. But if we're willing to like fly actors out from across the world, spend big bucks on like tons of like luxury things for these celebrities, then why can't we pay for like a little $500 ramp to make the set more accessible? Or why can't we pay for a translator? I think that people associate like, well, celebrities will make the movie a ton more money, but casting authentically and telling authentic stories like Coda, it's what's going to drive people to the box office. So make those little accommodations happen. That's what I
it's an
really want
investment in the
Hollywood to know.
story.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
if you short sell it or don't put the right time, energy, and money into something and do it right, it's going to
yeah,
show. So I totally agree with you.
yeah,
Investing in the
yeah.
disability community is a smart business decision.
Yes.
There's a lot of us, and we'd love to spend money. The
Yes.
$490 billion in spending last year. So
Wow.
that's
Wow.
let's Hollywood welcome us. We're here to stay, and we want to be a part of the story. So this is great. Rachel,
Yes.
thank you so much for your time today, and can't wait to see what you do next and continue communicating, building the friendship. And thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Josh. So fun to chat with you today.
All right, everyone. Until next time. And this was Accessory Spotlight Sessions, and thank you for being here with us today. Bye, everyone.